thought it was communication.
Communication, language. We go on this topic a lot because it's so important.
Yes. So, the way people talk today, someone from today would have a hard time properly communicating an idea to someone 20 years ago.
Yep.
And that sounds like a long time, but it's really not a long time at all. It's a very short time. And both of these people are one generation apart. And both of these people are in the workforce at the same time. They're in the government at the same time. And both of these people are influencing the world, and they can't fucking communicate whatsoever. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that they change words. You can't just change the meaning of a word to win an argument. Just like the governments who just change laws to like win court trials. You can't do that. That should be illegal to a degree.
Yeah, absolutely. Or at least have the grace to, because we do evolve, but you need to have that understanding that you're not the only one that exists. This generation of people that decides to change something, and then the backlash that goes with it. And that's not even so much just the way language is kind of written and changed. That's also like, you think about someone who's 60 years old, the life and times they were brought up in. It doesn't always translate well. And they're met with, I think most of us meet them with a fair level of grace and understanding, but there's that percentage of us that want to bring the hammer down on these old people and say that, you know, you're spreading misinformation, or you're full of hate speech. And I'm sure there's some crusty old people that are just really into being miserable, but a lot of them are just stuck in their times, and that's the language they grew to understand.
Yeah.
Like navigating the N-word with my grandma, like when she grew up, there was a particular N-word that was used to describe a certain group of people.
Yeah.
And then there was a lighter version that came out in that same time period that was accepted as being like politically correct.
Yeah.
And she used that until she was dead, but it didn't carry malice.
And just to point it out, the current president of the United States still, to this day, uses that word sometimes to describe them. Just
Like
putting that
the
out there.
severe one or the not so severe?
The not so severe one.
Yeah.
The one that ends with an O.
Yeah. Just trying to spell it in my mind, sorry.
Just putting that out there, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. But, and again, like, that lens of time is important. Like you said, you can't just change something, and they did that with the trucker rallies with violence.
Yeah.
And I think they did it with weapons, too.
Well, yes, with the Canadian law now, that just, again, it passed even more. Bill C-21, this is, in Canada, removing even more fucking guns for people to use, which is, they're saying they're removing it for, like, gun control, not gun control, but to prevent criminals from using guns, but it's just like, they're criminals. They're already using illegal guns.
Yeah.
Like,
I know, and we're all aware of that argument, except for like 13 people who are just completely
everyone
stupid.
Everyone
so stupid.
not in the government, everyone that's not in the government, is aware of this. But the people in the government, for some reason, just doesn't click.
Yeah.
Sorry, sidetrack. Go about the language.
Language. No, I think I was just curtailing on.
Okay, but yeah, so. In the gun control, they changed the definition of certain guns in order to ban
them. Mm-hmm.
Again, gun control could be a whole topic on its own, but like I'm just pointing to examples that are happening right now where they're using language and changing it just to fuck with people.
Yeah. Benefit their own agenda.
Yeah. Like another major thing with language is medical. Mm-hmm. Medical terms should remain what they originally were.
Absolutely.
Because once you start changing what the definition of certain things are, when you are in the medical field, you put people's lives in danger. Mm-hmm. You put the careers of doctors in danger because they may read something that is that may make them do a misdiagnosis or may accidentally do something they're not supposed to do.
Yeah.
And it's really pushing a limit of reason and logic, right? Because I'm all for, like you said, growing with the times and all that.
Yeah.
but you can grow with the time and still be logical in what you're doing,
Absolutely.
right?
Well, and you don't have to bastardize language just for the hell of it.
Yeah.
You know, like there's lots, and another part of that, the language thing is when, again, like a pop culture takes a term and a portion of that culture uses it nefariously, like retard.
Yeah.
It wasn't a pandemic of people going around calling people with a disability fucking retards.
No,
You know,
and
like,
most of
if
the time-
you follow the definition of the word, the actions of your friends and family or that stranger were in fact retarded.
Yeah.
You know, and all that happens is you just make them take another word, and then we fight it with the same defense. Well, now it's offensive, so you can't say it.
Yeah.
And now we're going to penalize you and scrutinize you.
The whole history of the word retard, I'm going to go on a tangent about retard.
Yeah.
The whole history of the word retard, first off, it's a French word.
Yeah.
And it was taken by the English. And in French, it just means like slow. That's all it means.
Yeah.
And it was the English used it as a medical term to describe someone with severe mental health problems, or mental disability, not necessarily problems.
Yeah.
But we
recovery.
like in common speak, people would just use it to mainly just insult each other, and most of the time it was like people playing video games. It was amongst your friends, that kind of stuff, and it was I legitimately, I don't think I've ever seen someone call someone who's mentally disabled retarded.
Yeah.
It's only always been towards friends in a like playful manner.
Yeah,
Right?
retard is definitely one of my favorite words ever created. I
Yeah.
think it is so fitting. And again, like back to the way it was used was generally just to signify that, man, what you're doing is stupid. That's retarded.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go to your house, to go back to my house, to go back to your house, to get your stuff, to come back. Like,
Yeah, it
like-
was used to say like you're not thinking straight.
yeah,
Right?
exactly. But
And-
we just crushed it into one word.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And if you put fuck off in front of that,
Yeah.
that is the best line that will ever be created and nothing will ever surpass it. Because if you hear someone say fuck off retard to somebody else, no matter what, you will most likely start laughing.
Yeah.
Because it's heavenly gold for your ears.
Yeah.
And if you can get comfortable with saying it, your life will become much easier, much faster.
Let's do it all together now.
Let's do it together. Let's say on three.
On three.
3,
2,
2,
1.
1. Fuck off, retard. Oh, you missed the fuck off part.
I was just gonna say retard.
Oh, but I like the
I
I,
know
like
you
the
like the
whole
fuck
thing.
off. All right.
I have to have the chain.
all right, fair enough.
Yeah. Now we'll just pause in silence. But again,
So-
like the more they do that, and we've done it, you see that list growing exponentially now. You know, and
Of words that you're not allowed to
of
say.
words you're not allowed to say with historical meaning.
Yeah.
You know, and they've come to describe something, and just because a small group of people have used it maliciously doesn't change the definition of the word and like why it's there to
Yeah. Absolutely.
identify.
And like you said, it's starting to get to a point where the saying you're not allowed to say certain words is just essentially becoming censorship.
Yeah.
To prevent you from saying certain things, because now it's a slippery slope. Anyone can just say this word offends me and it should be banned.
Yeah.
And that word could be a word that contradicts the things you say. For instance, the word pedophile is now starting to be one of those words where it's like, ooh, are you allowed to say it? Are you not allowed to say it? Because members of the LGBTQ are pushing for to change it to minor attracted people or minor attracted individuals, which is pedophiles, and they're pushing for that to become an accepted thing.
Yeah.
And using the word pedophile to describe them, they're saying, oh, that's discriminatory and like offensive, and it's like,
But
yes,
if that's what you're
yes,
doing.
yeah, like fuck you, you know. Like,
There was a comedian I watched recently, and he broke down all of the files. But he said the problem with those is that you can't describe those
Yeah.
and break into language and talk about what they mean without looking like a
pedophile.
pedophile.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
But I mean, they all have their own tier system for
Yeah.
the age
There's like-
groups that they
there's
affect.
like hebephile, and then there's like
there's a couple of H1s.
There's a few of them,
and-
yeah.
But again, if you break in and having, and like, I think it's weird these two cultures that are meeting, because like one is still very, we don't want to accept any of that information. It's still like taboo. We don't really want to talk about it. And the other one is just meeting it with a sword and saying like, if you use this, we're cutting you down. Whereas the other, it's weird. It's a weird dynamic.
So, and where this comes into the whole communication thing is, now that there's a lot of words that we're not allowed to say, it makes it even more difficult for us to properly, effectively, and quickly transmit ideas to each other.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So, and this is where, and with that, not only is it becoming difficult for just the average person to communicate, when it comes to the formation of laws, the way police can enforce people, the way you should interact with someone, the way your boss can interact with you, co-workers and all that kind of stuff, now becomes a very murky area.
Yeah.
Where it's almost impossible to do anything. For instance, people who are in positions of power, not saying that they're good people per se, I'm just saying, the average boss is not a bad person, right?
Yeah.
We only have the story of like the bad ones pop up, but the average person who's your manager, who's your boss, he's an okay person. And
or she, come on.
or she, yeah. They're an okay person normally.
Yeah.
But they could just misstep in the way they say a certain thing.
Yeah.
And their entire life can be ruined. But and it's not just that. It's also they sometimes now can't even communicate or discipline or
because
effectively direct their employees because they can't. Some of them, like, they're not even allowed to call someone you, like, hey, you do this. Like, it's becoming impossible for there to be a chain of command in regular society.
Well, and I think if you probably brought that point up to a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but a small percentage of people right now, they would disagree with it. They would think it's ridiculous. There should not be a thing as chain of command. There is no such thing as a hierarchy. Why can't we be autonomous and do our jobs? And some of those systems are great, but I mean, there are certain areas where you need to have that chain of command. And I think a lot of that goes to how we receive information, right? You should be able to have a conversation with somebody without it being offensive. It can be not critiquing, but discussing, maybe your inability or a better way of doing a performance. And then people take that as like, he's harassing me or she's harassing me.
Well, again, those are the same people that probably had like trophies for losing.
Yeah.
Right.
But because they're not used to being told no.
Yeah.
No, you have to be here on time. No, you can't wear that here. No, you have to have this done by 5:00.
Yeah.
And I mean, for those people, if you don't like your job, then move on.
Yeah.
And let that place of employment hire somebody that needs that job and is willing to follow through with that.
Did you see that video of the Starbucks employee? I don't want to call him a guy because who knows now? Plus it's a Starbucks, but it looks like a dude, and he's crying about how like, oh, I have to work one day every weekend. And my boss is telling me that I'm going to have to stay late. And he's like bawling his fucking eyes out. And it's to me, that is the most pathetic thing I've ever seen in my fucking life.
Yeah, it's brutal. And I mean, like, if that doesn't fit your fucking vibe and your lifestyle, bro, like, just leave.
Yeah.
But you don't have to cry about it. And like, those videos are gaining a tremendous amount of traction where it's people complaining, but you get one side of the story.
Yeah. Like, we don't know what the boss had to deal with. Like, we have this person could be complaining about every step of the fucking way. This person could be a detriment to the company in some shape or form.
Absolutely.
And we only see their side because I don't even want to call them underdogs because they're not really underdogs. But, like,
they're just assholes.
They're a victim. And the Western society is obsessed with victims and being victims.
Yeah, and it's gross.
Yeah.
And like, those companies don't give a shit.
No,
they don't
really
give a shit about how somebody's going to get, and they know like most of those places won't even name drop because they know those companies will just sue them into oblivion and crush the shit out of them.
Yeah.
And once the true story comes to light, because I can guarantee you most of those companies are going to come heavily armed with, oh yeah,
you were late on this day, did that.
Yeah. And we're not talking 5 minutes. You were 15 minutes late. You didn't call in for work. You didn't show up.
Yeah.
You you probably have a little bit of a history there.
Yeah.
But, and again, like, just goes to the point of they're not going to out these companies because they don't want to have to deal with the fact that they're a piece of shit.
Yeah. And it's this, the effect of this on the workforce and the culture of the younger generation of workforce. I'm not talking millennials, or is it Gen Z? No, Gen Z is after millennials.
I can't remember any of those.
Anyway, I'm talking 16 to 24-year-old, that generation, right?
Yeah.
There are very, very, very few among them, and I'm not insulting all of you. I'm just saying, a very large portion of you are pathetic and can't work.
Yeah.
Like you don't know what it's like to get up and to actually work. And now they'll put the argument, oh, well, you're slaving away at something, right? And it's your fault because you're not standing up for yourself and all that. But you have to understand that there's a certain point of standing up for yourself, right? And wanting a better pay, better work environment, and just being a bitch.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
Because there are certain fields of work where it's just shitty work.
Yeah.
And there's no other way to do it. You have to manually do it.
Yeah.
Right? And the people who don't want to do those jobs and are stuck in, who want to go through this, like, I can bitch and complain about everything and make YouTube videos about how much of a victim I am, they're working on replacing you. Like
100%.
a robot will replace you.
Absolutely.
McDonald's just opened a fully autonomous restaurant.
Yeah.
Okay. So any of you working fast food who are in fast food or folding clothes or whatever the fuck, you have a job. Good for you. I'm not criticizing that. I'm criticizing the people who are in those jobs complaining about it. You're going to be jobless soon.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's going to happen way faster than you think.
Oh, yeah.
So shut up. Get some good work ethic, because you're going to need to switch career eventually.
Yeah.
To something 100%. That's a lot harder.
Yeah.
Than serving a coffee.
Absolutely. Well, and like, that's scary. I think when that time does happen, this is kind of outside of our topic.
Yeah.
But it's going to be awesome because there's going to be places. One thing I think, let me rephrase. One of the things that I think we've started to lack with all of the stuff that we're fed through media and news and, world climate, is we forgot about really just interacting with people. And like, you work in the service industry. It doesn't mean you're a slave. It doesn't mean you have to take bullshit. But servitude is part of that thing. If people want a coffee, greet them with a fucking smile.
Yeah.
Have a great day. That's the end of your dialogue if you want it to be. Thanks for shopping at such and such a place. Here you go. And also, don't fuck up something that's super simple. And I mean, if that's the problem, like there's a Tim Hortons by my place, it has got to be the most awful, painstaking thing to do. And again, like, to defend your point about this younger generation, there are 3 young people standing in the middle. There's one old person
doing all the work, right?
Doing the work, and then one decent young human being, and then a lazy manager who you can generally see sitting in his chair, not doing anything. And these people aren't on break. They're just talking. Yeah. And then they'll look at the clock and be like, oh, we better do something. Yeah. And I mean, like, we blow the people that react to those situations, like, oh, you're such an asshole, you're so impatient. At a certain point, when you have to do that shit all the time, it is frustrating as fuck. And they try to escape. Those people will try and, you know what, I'm going to switch from this coffee to this coffee. Yeah. I'm going to go to this location on my way to work. I'm going to make changes. And then you have to put up with a bunch of bullshit from other people. You're going to have traffic that sucks. Then you have to a service that sucks. Then you go to a grocery store and that sucks. They reach their limit with people just being entitled, bratty little assholes. Yeah. And I think that probably goes higher than just that 24 mark. Like, there's a lot of people in that 30 to 35 have absorbed that culture and think that it's okay to just be a pompous dick and super self-centered. Self-serving belongs in your life, and you should take care of your own well-being and service. But, like, also be respectful of getting the fuck out of someone's way or doing your job.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll back up what you just said there about the service industry. I read a story 2 days ago of someone who was proud at the fact. So this person had a job. Their job was they were a caterer, a server at for catering. They were catering a group, an organization that is, in a general sense, a Catholic organization that does Catholic things, whatever the fuck that is. They had this thing, and they had speakers and all that. So one of the first speakers at this organization was a woman talking about abortion. Now, one of the servers who... Hey. That's you guys. We got the little pieces back. Put your bones back in. Yeah. No vacuum for you.
Anymore, yeah.
So the first speaker was this a woman speaker who was going to talk about abortion.
Yeah.
One of the servers whose job they voluntarily got this job to work for this company, and they're aware of this company's policies that they don't care what organization you are. If you hire us, we will cater to you.
Yeah.
I'm very okay with that. But they got that job with them. And this organization is Catholic, and they were, and this particular speaker was against abortion.
Yeah.
So this server decided to heckle
the speaker
at this organization, and eventually the heckling went back and forth, and the server decided to walk out after throwing their tray of shit, and they walked out.
Tray of shit.
Their tray of shit. Now the manager went to them. This whole story, okay, I'm getting to is from the server themselves.
Yeah.
I don't have everyone else's version. I just have the server's version. So the server said that the manager came up to them and tried to stop them from leaving. Not physically, but asked them to stop and go back to work and all that. They walked out, and then one of the organizers, they were catering, came out and tried to communicate with the person.
Yeah.
And we're like trying to say, hey, listen, it's not made to offend you. It's the speaker. This is what we do. Can you please, you're welcome to come back and continue working. And this person took the $89 in tip that they had made.
Yeah.
And I might add, this is the first speaker, so they made $89 in tips within the first hour, right?
Yeah.
So they took this money and they threw it at the organizer and left. And they were proud of their behavior. They were proud that they did that.
Yeah.
And it's to me that is mind-boggling. First off, you volunteered to be a caterer.
Yeah.
With this company that caters to everybody, which means you are an extension of that organization, which means regardless of your personal beliefs, while you are under that organization, your personal beliefs don't fucking matter. Do your fucking job. Shut your fucking mouth.
100%.
Take the money that they're giving you and go the fuck home, then complain on the internet about it all you fucking want.
Yeah.
Right? And even in that person's story, everyone else involved seemed to be really nice and understanding of this person's.
They try to cater to them.
They tried to cater to them.
Which is crazy. And I think that's where we see so much just this altercation, just the conflict.
Yeah.
They never talk about this organization, like the organizer, the organization, the people behind it being like, we get that you have your own personal beliefs. We'll accommodate you so that you don't have to feel under attack and you can still be employed.
Yeah.
And that's an awesome thing for that employer to do.
Yeah.
And then just so that there is one important part, I think, with the service industry. Again, like, doing your job is important. But I think also sharing and having a company, like, companies have to get to the point where they can start backing up. Like, I have friends that work at a gas station. The stuff that they get said to them and, like, being touched, that stuff is awful. That stuff, stand up for yourself.
I agree.
That stuff, record.
There's a level, right? Where, like, that person, like the story I was telling, about them losing their shit over a speaker, that is crossing the line. If someone touches you, like if someone in the crowd came up to that server and touched them or insulted them to their face or something, that server is perfectly in their right to just throw the fucking hard-boiled eggs right at their face.
Absolutely. And I don't want people to think that like servers don't have to go through, and people that are in customer service. And so for both those groups, so the people that want to be dickheads and explode, maybe save it. Figure it out. Save it for the person who's actually an asshole. Yeah. Not the person that's trying to, and we all have to remember we have bad days. And then for the servers, when people are doing, or the people in service industry are doing that shit, make your business accountable. They're there to protect you. Yeah. So if someone's grabbing your ass and titties or your dick, because that happens. Yeah. Your company should be stepping up, and don't let it slide. That guy or girl who's crossed that line should be held accountable. Mm-hmm. Don't just turn it into a story and brush it under the rug. Because that's going to just keep happening. Yeah. You have to be like, don't. or someone who wants to come in and fly off the handle because you charge them extra for the eggs. Pay attention, apologize, but don't let them treat you like shit.
Yeah.
You know, there's some dynamic that has to go through there. And then circling back on top of our language and why it's important, difference has now been associated with hate.
Yeah.
If you have a difference of an opinion, that means you're a hateful person.
Yeah.
And like that's part of this language that we have to be more careful with how it's established. What are you doing?
I was just adjusting the audio so it picks it up better.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, like, and how those words develop, and I mean, like, going back to that lady calling the Canadian flag a symbol, the new modern symbol for Nazism.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
You know, and then, yeah, being able to articulate language, having the standards there of language, if we have to change things to let it evolve with society, there has to be some programs behind that. The government or whatever body, even a club or organization, you can't just change a word now because you've decided that's what it means.
Yeah.
And then expect everyone to fall in line and then villainize someone for that. You have to respect people's timelines, where they came into things. And that's why like those subcultures can be so dangerous.
And here's the thing too is at a certain point you can't just control other people. Like that's what it comes down to. It's these people trying to control other people in whatever tiny way they can.
Yeah.
Right. They'll start off by controlling what you're allowed to fucking say. Right. The words you're allowed to use, I should say, not what you're allowed to say, but the words you're allowed to use. And then it goes up the scale from there, where it eventually turns into, like if you're not banging a tranny, then you're homophobic.
Which is, and again, like it's just insane, and like that's become a popular thing, where they're stating like if you don't find me attractive, you're fat phobic.
Yeah. That's not how it works.
That's not how it works.
Yeah.
And then they say, well, you can't hide behind a preference.
Yes, you can.
Having glasses is a preference. No, it's the same thing. You have a preference. And for the people that believe that, genuinely believe that just because you're not attracted to a larger person or not a biological person of the sex, they don't hate you.
Yeah.
And they don't want anything bad to happen to you.
Yeah.
But they have a preference. I have a preference for biological vaginas.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah, but again, like I don't hate those people, and I have strong fundamental beliefs that go against theirs, but that doesn't mean like I'm hunting them down in some kind of like Jeepers Creepers van beating up trannies. Like you can still live a life, and like I have people in that community, and we have crazy good conversations.
Yeah,
and we've educated each other, but we've never had sex with each other because we have a preference.
Yeah, it's that whole thing. You know how like a lot of times they'll say like men and women can't be friends because like reasons?
I hate that saying.
That's the dumbest shit ever. Absolutely, a man can be friends with a woman he's not attracted to.
Yeah,
if he's attracted to her, then it doesn't get ended. Then it doesn't work.
And someone was lying. If you put those two, and if they're not attracted, you put them on a desert island, chances are they'll probably have sex.
Yeah.
This has been 3 Dead Babies. We hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. We know we did, and that's all that matters.
Don't forget to leave comments, like the video, and please subscribe. It helps us an amazing amount.
Yeah.
Again, I'm Vampire Jesus.
I'm your fabulous co-host, and we would love to keep, talking shit about everybody's problems. So in that comment section, light it up with whatever's fucking burning your ass, pissing you off, making you crazy, and we'd love to dig into it and have a conversation about it. Until next time, we'll see you later.